Hello and welcome to another episode of the Benrolins Blueprint podcast. I'm your host, Benrolins Awandem. But before we start today's episode, I want every one of you in the audience to take a time, take a moment, and make sure you subscribe to Benrolins Blueprint, you're liking the videos, and you're sharing it, and click on the notification bell to be the first person to get notified when we drop an episode. Thank you. Today is going to be a great episode, and I want you guys to make sure you're sharing this episode to your friends, your loved ones, and everybody that you really care or value. I have somebody with me today. He's a great guy. He's a friend, a newly wedded guy. He has a beautiful wife by the name Emma Helen Perez, and he's no other person than Mr. David Perez. How you doing today, sir?
Good, Ben. Good, Ben. Thanks for inviting me, man. How are you?
I'm good. So, how's your day been?
It's been good. I'm a night shifter, so my
Mm-hmm.
night it's been good actually.
Yeah, you just said night shift. Let's just hit right up to work-life balance. How's it been ever since you got married and trying to balance work and family?
So for me that hasn't been that difficult because my wife is also Emma is also a night shift. Also, she's a nurse that works at Hopkins,
Mm-hmm.
and since I started going to night shift, we basically have the same schedule now, and
Mm-hmm.
we basically have the same, uh, you know, when she's at work. The only difference is that I have the same days going to work.
Yeah.
She has, spread schedule. So she
Gotcha.
sometimes works some days. Like tonight, I'm off and she's working.
Mm-hmm.
That's a bummer because we could have been spending like this night together. She could have been here even, but that's the only thing. But I don't know. It's been great. Like marriage life is awesome, at least for me.
Yeah.
Um, Now for her as well, but we've grown so much after we got married,
Mm-hmm.
not because of marriage itself, but because he kept going what we had before.
Okay, got you. Yeah, but before we come to your marriage life, I want to talk about a little bit about Venezuela because before I wanted to bring you on to the podcast or invite you to come over, I had to like do some findings, go try to find out a little bit of history about Venezuela. This podcast or this episode or this show is not about politics, so I'm gonna try as much as possible to stay away from politics. But it's really difficult to talk about Venezuela and you don't get a little bit of politics in there. So I'm gonna try as much as possible just to give the audience a sense of what Venezuela is. And like looking at the history, the first thing that struck me was that Venezuela is has the highest oil reserve in the world. I was like, damn, if they have the highest oil reserve in the world, and then I'm looking at countries like, let's just say Saudi Arabia,
Yes.
the UAE, United Arab Emirates, and I'm
Yes.
like, what's going on? Like, I'm thinking about, was it a failed model or some of the leaders they were not like visionaries or looking taking care of the people? And then I stepped back again. I was looking at one of the biggest figure in your country, Mr. Hugo Chavez. I hope I'm saying that right.
Yeah. Hugo Chavez.
Yeah,
Yeah.
Hugo Chavez,
Hugo
and
Chavez.
he was a socialist. He
Mm-hmm.
was trying to bring the 21st century socialism to Venezuela, and he was on authoritarian populism. That was his kind of the role. He was really like famous. People like him because he was trying to give people food, like make sure everyone is cool. But the thing is, in order to do something like that, you got to fund it, and the dollars. Your country was mostly dependent on oil.
Yeah.
And when the economy is dependent on oil, the market sometimes fluctuate. It goes up and everything's good. But the moments it goes down, it's a bad situation. And now, like all those government programs, who is going to fund it? And then just looking at that, after looking at the model that Venezuela was taking, and then when I see a city like, let's just say Dubai in the United Arab Emirates, I'm like, wow, or can do this, and
Yeah.
then or can like get the country into chaos too,
Yes.
because And then I was like, is it right? Is it leadership? Or is that your leaders had like something different? And then going down to today with Nicolas Maduro, I discovered that the inflation rate in your country is like probably like 170 something percent.
It's called a
Yeah,
hyperinflation.
hyperinflation. Like it's crazy.
Yes.
And I realized that the president and his elites, they have like their government exchange rate, like is it Bolivar? Is that how you call your currency?
Bolivar.
Yeah,
The
Bolivar.
currency is
Yeah,
Bolivar.
Bolivar. 10 Bolivar equals $1. But for the in the black market, it's about $1, like 2,000 or something above
Yeah.
Bolivar. So
Yeah.
I'm like, there's a lot of inconsistency when it comes to the leadership and the people. So I want to come back to you. This is a technical question, but you as a leader in your field,
What do you mean?
yeah, you as a leader in your field. No, I just want to take a second to ask you. You as a leader in your field, do you think your country's situation right now? I don't want you to go left or right.
Okay.
It deteriorated to this level because of bad leadership.
Well, yeah. So I mean, when you say you don't want to get politic into it.
Yeah, but it's difficult to talk about your country without like getting a little political.
Well, because like what you're bringing into the table is that you're talking about the part of the country that was affected by the oil industry. So originally, Venezuela was a very agricultural country, right? We are right there in the Caribbean. We had beautiful, rich mountains, and because of the different environments that Venezuela has, it's easy there to grow many things. You have many like types of fruits. You have coffee. You have chocolate. You have a cacao, and you have many things in there that were really big in Venezuela. And then when oil was discovered, and then the reserves were found, that changed everything, shifted everything. What happened was that at the beginning it was really nice because it was like, making the country grow. It was giving opportunities to everybody. It was bringing a lot of people all around the world to the country. And yes, the country was thriving, right? It was amazing. Several like different movements happened, like the governments were going like up and down, and some good ones came, some bad ones came also. Like Hugo Chavez wasn't the only one causing troubles to us. Like previously we had other presidents that also caused a lot of damage. But I mean, there were like the part of it that made the country so good was not only that we have the money coming to us because we had the oil, we also have the professional part of the country going up. Curious part about it is that who helped most the country coming from all of this happening was a singer. His name Ali Primera. Ali Primera. One good thing that he did, he had a socialist belief, and like he sang a lot about revolution, and he sang a lot to the poor side of the country. But one big thing that he had is that he started the movement of the universities in Venezuela. What it was is that several states in Venezuela had the university, a free university, which the whole plan was to have all the professional people coming to Venezuela from the oil industry, all sorts of them, from chemical engineers, oil engineers, economists, any type of engineering going on, industrial engineer as well, medicine. You have all the doctors. Like medicine in Venezuela was really good also. And what was happening, or what this university happened, is that they were taking all those professionals as teachers, putting them in there. The professors were the professionals that were coming from outside. They were getting really good benefits, and those were the ones that were, making the new professionals coming from our country that were going to be the professors after that, that we're gonna keep teaching the same people. So you have a cycle
Yeah.
that will like make it better.
Yeah, got you.
Nowadays, that university is like in the ground. It's really bad. After all this happened, all these problems that happen over there, that university is very neglected. All of them.
Wow.
And it's a sad part, but like, I mean, once you take the studies out of the people,
Yeah.
you leave them with nothing. Yes, you can take the money, you can take the economic part is like very like affected them. But that was the main thing, the education.
Yeah, that's true. So I believe you were born during the time of Carlos Andres Perez. He was a president at that time, right?
Yeah.
So growing up during that time, how was life like?
Well, I mean, I was a kid before that, you know, like most of so Chavez became president in 1999.
Yeah, 1999.
I was born in 93. I don't remember pretty much nothing before Chavez. Like, if I do remember, I wasn't thinking about the politics or anything like that. So my generation was raised by that government that lasted forever because he was getting reelected over and over again.
So you're going to say during the era of Chavez, that was when you really remember most of your stuff?
Yeah.
So
basically.
How was life like growing up under Chavez rule?
Well, I remember several things happening from there were a few intents of coup d'etat, right? I remember a lot of rebellion, a lot of chaos. I mean, but from what I was seeing, like my parents or my family, most of it was not aligned with Chavez. They were the opposition, right? So I grew up in the opposition side of it, right? I was never told basically that Chavez was the good one. And there was a lot of people that did believe that. And my social circle, even at school, most of my friends, they did not support Chavez, or their parents did not. Therefore, they didn't even. Because I got, like the politics beliefs are almost like that, are almost like religion. They're like passed to you from your parents, from what they teach you that a society is supposed to be, type of thing.
Yeah, I got you.
So it was always against them. It was like always these speech about how everything is getting worse and worse and worse, little by little. And there were several intents of like trying to change and get the other president, the next one, whoever was postulating to try to like take the new position for president.
Yeah.
But Chavez kept winning. And it was like a whole corruption thing going on in there. And I don't know. I'm traumatized. I'm traumatized from politics because like now I don't believe in any politician.
Wow.
I don't believe in any of them. Like when the time of choosing a politician to take a certain position, I'm always like, this is the less worst person, you know?
Because I believe like most politicians, they focus on the next election. Their focus is just like, hey, how can I do everything possible to win the next election? They don't really care about the people. Just like,
care about the votes.
Yeah, just about the votes. What can I do to win the next election? Whereas if there's a true leader, that we really need true leaders nowadays, true leader thinks about the next generation. What can I do to make the next generation better? What can I do to make the next generation come and have the same opportunities or even better than the opportunities we had in our own generation? But I want to go back, like growing up in that environment. What were you thinking? Like, what was your dream? Like, what was your aspiration? What do you want to become when you grow up?
When I was what age? Because it changed. It changed many times.
Let me just say 11, 12, 13.
When I was 11, 12, I probably wanted to be a musician. That was like one of my biggest dreams was to be a musician. I probably like grew up most of my childhood trying to be a musician. When when I was a kid, let's say 7, 8 years old, I started to play the violin at the children orchestra of my town, and it was awesome. Like I played the violin, that made me really interested into music, right? Then when I was probably 10 years, 11 years old or something like that, I picked up the guitar and I started to play the acoustic guitar. And from down on, I just like kept playing, right? It's never been a profession for me, but it's been my biggest hobby, right? That's how I unwind. That's how I lose myself into it, like the guitar and the music. Later on, I found out that music doesn't give you a lot of money, you know.
Who told you that?
Well,
People
I
make
don't
mon-
know,
people
just
make money
me
from music.
making observations over there. Yeah, it can give you money, but
Yeah.
I knew that I wasn't like, a stellar musician that was going to make it. I don't know. And after having a conversation with my parents, they were kind of like, all right, yeah, you like music, but you might struggle a little bit if you take that path. It's your decision, but
Yeah.
I'm just letting you know. I'm like, all right. And then I wanted to be a sound and recording engineer. Didn't have that option really in my town, and that's why I went for electronic. So I'm an electronic engineer. And when I was already studying that, I was thinking of like changing at some point. But I liked it. I found out what engineering was, the electronic part of it, and I like it. And I was like, all right, I'm already here. Let's keep going. Let's finish it. And it's really interesting. I liked that. I found myself I was good at it. And yeah, that was the story.
So I want to ask you, what's the most your fondest moment or memories in Venezuela?
My what?
Your fond memories, like the one you were like, oh, when I remember that, I'm so happy. Like I wish I could go back to the time.
Maybe the time I spent with my family. So family was a big thing when I was growing up, right? I have my mother's side of a family and then my dad's side of a family. Both were big. My mother is one of five. My father is one of five. Every sibling has kids. So I grew up with a bunch of cousins, right? And my life was like, okay, it's the weekend. We're going to your dad's parents' house. We'll go over there, and everybody will go over there. Everybody will get together, and there was like amazing food. All my cousins that were like about my age, and it was like fun stuff. And then also, there was like my parents loved to go to the beach and do trips in there. So we will go to the beach. We will camp. So these beach were like little islands. So you have to take a boat to get one of them. We will camp in there, stay there for a few days, and then all the way back. And that was fun. That's how I grew up.
Yeah.
It was incredible because you have like these Caribbean beach, beautiful. You get in the water, it was crystal clear. Bunch of fishes, food was incredible. All your friends and family were there together. That's where I believe happiness is at. You want to have your loved one close to you.
Gotcha.
So you want to spend like quality time, and
Yeah, that's
so
good.
that could be another one. Could be like on my college time, again spending time with my friends.
Yeah.
Whatever I was able to spend time with my friends, that's when I was the happiest.
Oh, that's good. Let's move on from Venezuela to United States. How old were you when you came to America?
It was 2017. I was like 25.
Yeah, 25 years old.
Yeah, I think I was 25.
So when you got here, how was life? Like, was it easy for you to just adapt? Like, hey, or it was just like culture shock?
A little bit, because when I arrived here, so Venezuela, Caribbean, right? I moved to Wisconsin, Madison, Wisconsin.
Yeah.
So middle, yeah. it was a little hard because first I have to relearn English again.
Mm-hmm.
So I studied English when I was in Venezuela. I came over here not because of the accent over there, but because of the day like talking. It was like a you have to do that double effort to understand everybody and have a normal conversation. And you know how it is.
Mm-hmm.
And people in Wisconsin, Madison specifically, are really nice.
Mm-hmm.
So I was lucky to be able to make enough friends over there.
Mm-hmm.
And then one thing that I was doing when I arrived there was to go hiking as much as I could.
Mm-hmm.
So that kept me sane. That kept me like doing fun stuff.
Yep.
And then on the other hand, I started to climb, rock climbing. And that was the things that I was doing. So I was able to make some friends. The cultural shock wasn't that bad. It was a little bit, like every time I will go out with friends, I will be kind of like, I don't know what you guys are talking about. Can you explain me this? So I was kind of like this. I don't know. I feel like a child when I was with like people my age or even younger than me. I was kind of, they would talk about stuff that I was like, what is that? And they have to explain most of the stuff, which people like. People like to tell you something,
They want to be the expert.
They want to be the expert. I mean, that's awesome. Like, I don't know. Like, people is very welcoming when you're like, when you have, a question, a genuine question about something, like, they want to know. So, I don't know.
Will you consider yourself an extrovert or an introvert? How are you going to consider yourself?
I'm an introvert for sure. Like, I really like to spend time by myself. And I don't know. I'm very creative also. I like to play the guitar. I like to, like do things by myself. But there's a part of me that's very social also. Like there's a necessity. And I feel like everybody does. It's just that I don't recharge batteries being social.
Yeah.
I like to go and be social, but then the next day I'm going to be very tired and I'm going to need some time by myself.
So you left Venezuela, went to Wisconsin, and you were in Wisconsin for like how long?
2016 to 2019
Then
when I moved to Baltimore.
They moved to Baltimore. So what made you make that move, like from Wisconsin
Emma,
to
my wife,
or your wife?
my girlfriend by the time.
We
We met in 2019. She was just graduating from nurse school, and she found a job at Johns Hopkins, which was a big opportunity for her at the time.
Yeah.
She takes the opportunity. We were already dating, and we clicked. So when she tells me she was gonna move over there, I was like, all right, I'll let me like finish everything that's going on in my life right here in Madison, and then I'll move with you. So she moves in June, July. 6 months later, I follow her. Like, she comes back to Madison, spends Christmas with her family and my family, and then we put everything on a U-Haul and drive all the way here. And
You just mentioned something. We clicked. What do you mean by that?
we clicked.
Yeah.
I don't know. Talking about the way that we met. So we met through Tinder, right?
Yeah.
And there's and by the time that we met each other, we were not really looking for a long lasting relationship. Really, we were just like meeting people basically.
Yeah.
And I don't know, we met each other and we liked each other a lot. I don't know. Do you know when you click with someone, what does that tell you? Like, when do you think that somebody clicks with you, or when you click with somebody?
Like for me, I don't really use the word click. So I don't. That's what I was trying to ask, to try to find out like what you really meant by when you mean or when you say click with someone. Were you trying to say, oh, we kind of like understood each other to the point where we're like, oh, this is a commitment forever? Is that what you meant?
Well, I basically asked her to marry me on our 4th date or something like that. It wasn't like it wasn't an official proposal. It was
Oh,
just a conversation.
yeah,
Yeah,
just a
yeah,
conversation.
yeah, yeah,
Yeah,
yeah. It
got
was her
you.
birthday.
Got you.
I took her on a date on a like I took her out for we went to get some sushi, and then I asked her what was like her favorite dessert place.
Mm-hmm.
She tells me, okay, it's here, and then we went over there. And as we were sitting down there having some the dessert, it was creme brulee.
Mm-hmm.
And I remember it was really good. And I was just talking to her, and we were just like having a conversation. Nice, and I told her that I think I was like, hey, I think I'm gonna marry you, something like that.
Mm-hmm.
That's basically how I asked her.
So how long was it from the first time you guys started talking to the fourth date?
To the fourth day,
Yeah, the fourth date you guys went out together. Like, how long was that? Can you give a time frame?
maybe a month and a half, something like that. It was quick. It was
That's good.
yeah, because we were both caught up with work. She was graduating again and doing all that stuff. And I don't know. I remember being really excited about her by the time, like I met this amazing woman and I really want to spend a lot of time with her and travel and do things, right?
Mm-hmm.
Um, and I don't know. It was really sweet, but it felt like very natural. It didn't feel forced or anything like that. I basically just told her what I was feeling. I was like, I didn't, by the time I didn't even believe in marriage.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? Like I was like, I mean, if you love somebody, that's my thought by the moment. Like if you love somebody, like, if you're very like true to your feeling, you don't need any marriage thing to like tell that you love this person or anything like that. That's what I was thinking, right?
Yeah. What made you come to that conclusion, by the way?
To change my mind?
Yeah. No, your previous conception about like how if you love somebody, you don't need to get married to show that you love the person.
I don't know, cause I don't feel like you need a title or anything to love somebody.
Mm-hmm.
That's what I was thinking.
Mm-hmm.
Then it changed a little bit because the celebration and the compromise of marriage is, I think, it's like really important. Like it does make a difference, even though it doesn't really. It's very strange, but that's basically when, like, if you bring everybody together, I don't know. That's how I see how my wedding was. My wedding, what I have in my head of my wedding was having all these people that we really care about, that were there to celebrate our love, to celebrate our compromise to each other, and to like join us into this like strong bond that is so important, that sets everything. And it is just a really beautiful thing, and having that in my memories as part of our relationship is like a very strong bond that we have,
Yeah.
besides all the amazing time that we spend together. Because we like with each other, like we spend a lot of time like doing nothing at home, as well as we go out and do things. We go running, we go climbing together, go to shows, travel, spend time with each other's family, cook together. We spend a lot of time, like normal couples do, I believe.
Yeah.
But also like we have this wedding that kind of like that's right there. And I don't know, it's always a good, beautiful thing. Every time I'm stressed, I go back and look at the pictures of our wedding. Makes me happy,
Yeah, that's good.
Yeah.
That's a
Like
good
I just like take my phone and look at them real quick, take a look at stuff. And sometimes I spend like a whole hour doing the same thing, and I've seen those pictures so many times. But it's always a good thing to come back to it.
Yeah. Congratulations on your wedding, by the way.
Thanks. Took you a little longer.
Yeah, congratulations on your wedding. But I wanted to ask you, like, when you date somebody, there's some kind of some challenges that probably you take on you by yourself. You don't really maybe you can relate to your girlfriend or stuff, but maybe the title sometimes come into play. But when you get married now, how was it like getting married, and then when you guys were hit by life challenges, how did you face that? I don't want you to get like too personal, but I just wanted to know like how you guys handle challenges.
I mean, one of the most important things that I feel that we do is that at least once a week, at
Mm-hmm.
least
Yep.
we we sit down and eat something, or like maybe we just drink coffee, like no phone, no nothing around. We just sit down and we just like talk and communicate. Like communication, that's the main thing. If
Mm-hmm.
we have strong communication and whatever we're having issues with,
Mm-hmm.
whatever we are struggling with, we have that conversation so we can align and see how are we facing this, and like kind of like try to create a plan
Mm-hmm.
to um, how to attack this problem that we are seeing over here.
Mm-hmm.
Communication, that's the most important things. And then I don't know, I feel like we try to take care of each other all the time.
Mm-hmm.
We're always like trying to see what's wrong, because you live with somebody,
Mm-hmm.
when something's off.
Yeah.
Definitely need with something soft.
Mm-hmm.
And also learning how to love your partner is also really important,
Mm-hmm.
because sometimes you might think you are helping doing something, but you're probably doing the total opposite.
Mm-hmm.
So you want to learn your partner to try to figure out how to love them the best.
Mm-hmm.
That's not easy, so you got to really pay attention to it.
Yeah, that's true. And one thing I want, like my own perception, I want to ask you to see if that's true. Because I believe guys or men or boys, whatever you want to call it,
Mm-hmm.
we we love with our eyes what we see.
With the eyes.
Yeah, with the eyes. We
Uh-huh.
want to see things like make it good, or like just when we see something good, like how we identify with it, like how we like that thing, we love the thing. And the ladies love with their ears. And one thing I know about, like from a brief experience, I don't really have that much CV when it comes to relationship. But I
Okay.
can say, like, ladies want to communicate. They want to have like those conversations.
Yes.
And the number one need as for a man is respect. Respect. A guy, like, he interprets respect as love. A guy interprets respect as love, and a lady interprets affection. Affection as love.
Oh, but respect is also really important. At least for my lady.
Yeah, no, I mean, but the number one is affection. Like, just getting her something and she thinking that you're thinking about her. Like,
But
that's
respect is a very effective way. Is affection as well. Like, well, I don't know.
but
I believe that
uh-huh,
if you don't respect
uh-huh,
first,
yeah.
then there's no much room for affection, don't you think?
Oh, there's no room for affection. But what I'm just trying to say is this: like, when it comes to men and women, like the different priorities. Like, when you want to set the top,
Yeah,
the
yeah,
love,
yeah.
there's the percentage to it.
Yeah,
Like,
yeah,
you can
yeah.
say like, oh, 80%
Yeah,
respect.
yeah.
But a lady they gotta be respect, but the max, like, let's just say 80% affection. If you want to like put in the scale, you gotta like there's going to be like a little balance. That's
Probably.
what I'm just trying to say.
Yeah.
Yeah, but I'm not saying, oh, you don't gotta respect your lady.
No, 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 no,
You
no. I
got
know,
to.
I got you.
Yeah, most definitely you gotta respect your lady.
We want to respect our ladies.
Yeah,
Yes,
you gotta
yes.
respect your lady. But I was just saying that guys, number one is respect, and most of the one thing that is leading to, like, let me just say divorce or like issues with relationship today is because the guys don't feel respected anymore. They feel like the ladies nowadays, for example, let's just assume, let's roll back the tape and go back to, let's say, before the Second World War, because I
Okay.
believe after the Second World War the war changed in like drastically.
Mhm.
Like, before the Second World War, we had a situation where um, the man was a breadwinner of the family. So he goes to the factory, he goes to the mine, and he go work, take care of his family, like work and make sure the income is coming in for the family. So the woman's job at the time was to just sit at home, take care of the kids, cook the food, make sure the kids are good, and take care of the home.
A housewife.
A housewife, basically. So the man was to like the provider, and the woman was just there to nourish or to
Yes.
take care and make sure everything is good. So
Yes.
the man give the lady a house, she makes it a home,
Mhm.
basically. And we got to the point where during the Second World War, the guys like in the Western world at least, had to go in the battlefield and start fighting.
Mm-hmm.
So when they were fighting, obviously the ladies they have to like step in the shoes of the guys or the men and try and produce weapons or war machineries that the guys are going to use in the battlefield.
Okay.
And those were the jobs of those guys. So when the war was over and those same guys came back home, the ladies are not home anymore. They're working, they're making more money.
They had a job.
They have a job now. And the guy's like, man, I don't know what it is to be a man anymore. My dad told me if you want to be a man, you're the man of the house. You got to man up. Now, what does that mean to be a man of the house when she's making more money than me? And you come to today, the ladies are making more money. And you want to see, maybe let's just assume like your dad is going to tell you today, hey, you got to be the man of the house. How do you be the man of the house if you want to meet a lady and she's making probably millions of dollars and you're like, man, you say, oh, I'm going to buy you a car. You say, I got 2. I'm going to buy you a house. I got 5 of that. I'm going to get you a fridge. I got fridge and stuff full and the fridge is filled up. So how do you be? So guys have gotten to the point where they don't really know what it is to be a man. They're just kind of confused.
Nowadays?
Nowadays, yeah. That's what I believe. Like the relationship nowadays don't really flow. And they kind of feel like neglected, basically. They think like society is more like focus or empowers the ladies more than the men. They don't really care about guys or men, guys' mental health today. And the moment you want to start saying some stuff about being tough, being a tough guy, they'll be like, oh, no, that guy got to be canceled or stuff like that. But I don't want to go far right or far left. My question to you is, do you think like respect is not valued? The ladies nowadays don't really value the guys. Like they don't really respect them.
No, that doesn't have to do with them like having their rights and their, I don't know. I feel like women respect as much as we do. I don't know. Everybody deserves the same amount of respect, and I believe that if you don't have the same amount of respect with the person that you're interacting with, then the one that respects the other one the less is basically abusing in some way. You know what I mean? And I don't. I don't know. Like, if I will apply this to my relationship, let's say I'm with Emma, and I go to war, and then I come back, and now she's got a job, and now she's making way more than me. The way we will face that is to sit down and have a conversation about it. Like, hey, this is the way I feel. I don't know. I'm not the one that will like tough up to try to like do something like, hey, I wouldn't get into that, but I will have a conversation with her. I will ask her like, hey, what is it that you expect of me? Or I will like start looking by myself because I wouldn't feel good by doing nothing. And I don't want to keep her in my place to nourish it or something like that. I feel like that's a job that we now share everything. Now everything is shared instead of like nothing really has to incline to anybody. And that's not what my parents were teaching me either.
So do you think today the guys, so what makes a man today? What makes a man a man?
I don't know, because I like to think about human in general.
Yeah.
What makes a good human? What makes a not that great human? So a human in general, like, respects, works, helps out, it's involved, communicates, doesn't think that everything is about them, wants to make sure that everything is good for their family. Like, that makes a man, that makes a woman too. Like, that applies for both genders.
Yeah, I got you.
Like, I like that we don't have those all constructs of like me arriving there and I have to have a wife there doing things for me and that makes me successful.
Yeah,
That's not what I look for. Like, I'm grateful that I'm married with Emma, not because I am married, not because there's a woman there, like, not like that. I am grateful because I have a partner that I can share my life with, that it's that brings me all these beautiful moments every day, even when we both have to work, so we only see each other for an hour a day. That hour counts. That hour makes my whole shift at work way better. You know, I have somebody that I can feel safe around, and I try to make her feel just as safe as I do.
Yeah, that's good. Like, I like your perspective, by the way. Like, looking at it from the perspective of just being a good human, it makes you kind of unique in the sense that you don't really like focus on one sex and like, hey, you gotta be this way or that way. Like, if you're not this way, you're not a good man, or if you're not that way, you're a weak man and stuff like that. So I really like the perspective. But now I want to move on to your relationship. I still want to stay at your relationship for just a second. I want to ask you about like, what do you guys do to kind of catch up for the time you guys are not together? Like you said, you just have just 1 hour sometimes to spend with each other. So let's just say you guys vacation, or what do you do?
Well, planning vacations, I think, is really important.
Mm-hmm.
Like going on vacation, it's core to keep a good relationship, because you want to be away from, the cycle, the everyday life stuff. And I mean, going on vacation, traveling is really important. Spending time together, like talking, is really important. Going out on dates is really important. One of the biggest thing is not to give the other one's love for granted. You have to always keep putting water in that plant, because that's when things go down. When you think, okay,
I got
she's
her now.
she's married with me now, she's gotta live with me, no matter what. No, like, you gotta, that's what I mean. Like, and having the conversation, not just a conversation, but like a sit down, looking at each other and talking about what our vision for the future is. How are we feeling in the moment? What are our expectations of each other or for the relationship, or where we're going? Because the relationship is never always the same. We're always changing, both of us, individually and as a couple. And like, one day we want to have kids right now. The next day we probably are like, okay, no, let's wait a little bit and let's do these projects that we have in our heads. And that's why it's so important to sit down and talk about all that stuff, because that way we grow up together instead of separate ways.
So one thing I've just got from you is like communication is the key. And I believe that's really right, because if you don't communicate, sometimes something might be so small or minute that I'm like, oh, you neglect. And later on along the line, you discover that, oh, that little thing is now something huge. And it's not always good to neglect anything when it comes to like relationship, because you're not dealing only with your feelings, but you're also dealing with another person's feelings too.
Yes.
You got to be considerate. So I think that's a really good point, and everything you've said today is really, really good. And I want to ask you about, let's just dive in a little bit into your career as an engineer and a manager. What made you pursue a career in management?
Well, I never pursued the management career. Like, I always, again, I wanted to be a musician, and that's where I'm probably gonna follow that in the future. Right now it's a hobby for me, but then I don't know what it might become. But I became engineer, and I really like the whole engineering part. It's exciting, knowledge, solving problems, making everything as best as you can. It's cool.
Yeah.
Solving problems is awesome. Makes you feel good. I'm a manager right now because I basically felt into it. That was the next position. The position open, I applied for it.
Got it.
Looked, as a good thing for my career, and it is, right? But I've always been an engineer. I always like to work with machines better than people or managing people. And it's definitely been a challenge for me. I can't say that I was born to do it. I can't say that I'm bad at it either. I definitely can be way better,
Mm-hmm.
and that's what I'm trying. And yeah,
What's your toughest challenge as a manager?
as a manager,
Mm-hmm.
to keep your team aligned
Mm-hmm.
to the things that are truly important. Because I mean, when you have a group of people that are getting together, everybody start to bring their own ideas.
Yep.
You have people that brings their ideas, they bring their problems,
Mm-hmm.
they bring their concerns, and they have their own skills to solve the issues that are actually happening in the moment. So you gotta take all of that, take what's important,
Mm-hmm.
and help them help the whole team direct and coordinate where you're trying to get and do.
Mm-hmm.
And I don't know, that's basically what it is. Like, okay, I know, like, you get with your guys, you tell them, okay, I know that there are several things that are very stressful and we have many problems going on right now,
Mm-hmm.
but let's try to do one thing at a time.
Mm-hmm.
Let's get this done first. Let's make sure that we're doing this like this.
Mm-hmm.
And I always like try to get with them and try to orbit around them
Mm-hmm.
to make sure that they are supported. So that you wanna make sure that they can do the best that they can do,
Mm-hmm.
right? And giving them orders not only enough. Like, you sometimes need to go with them and try to see and have a conversation. Again, communication. The whole thing is about communication and have a balance of like work and problems and everything. So I go over there like, hey, can you do this? Yes, but it's gonna take some time. So I'm like, okay, I wanted to make it less time because that's what I want as a manager. And then I have to see like, okay, what do you need so it can be less time? Do you need someone else to come help you? You need a tool to help you do this. What can I do? So
Yeah, that's pretty cool model. And you said your this thing you want your passion basically is to be a musician. Do you think in the next probably 5 years or 6 years we're gonna see you doing music?
yes. I would love to, get in a band and be able to, like, I don't have a huge vision of a musician as a musician, or to like pursue that music career, but I at least would like to play the guitar. So I would like to play with a band every Saturday night or something like that, like play some gigs around my place. I will be really happy doing that.
Oh, okay.
If we get to make music way better, if it grows, I'm not gonna be opposed to it. But right now, like, that's where my vision is. Like, having a band that are as serious as I am with whatever project is going on, and then I don't know, make some music, make people have a good time.
And then how about career management?
What about it?
Do you think you're gonna like move to the highest level, or you just kind of relax now and thinking about, oh, how can I make my family better, and how can I create some time for myself, and make sure I'm in the right space? Or you're still doing some like self-reflection to say, oh, is this really the path where I want to really put myself in at the moment?
Yeah, so I like to think about, life balance. When it comes to think of my family, I like to think that I'll be able to provide to them just as much as I'm going to be able to spend time with them. Because I don't know, I don't want to be just a money maker to send them money, and like I want to spend time with them. I think that's what family and life balance is at, and I want them to be safe, and I want them to have good education, and I want them to be able to go on vacation, because again, we were talking about it, like it's very important, right? And I want them to follow their dreams, right? To be where they want to be.
Yeah.
And I don't know, as a manager, I like the managing position. It's like it's new to me, but I also like have all these electronic engineer stuff that I can feel I can use for something. So yeah, I don't know. I probably could keep being a manager, but if I find something else that would involve some development or something like that, I will follow it as well. I'm still looking. Like I'm interested. I'm open to learn new things. I'm not centered into one career path or something like that. I feel like, I don't know, like being open and trying to see where where everything is evolving, you know, because I don't know, long time ago being an industrial engineer was like really cool because he will like bring you, like give you a lot of money because everything was industrialized. Now you have a different type of, you know, now you have the whole AI stuff
Yes.
going on. Now you have data. Now everything is electronic, programming. Everything is on a computer. You don't go to the industry anymore. You don't go to the big facility.
That's
You probably
true.
go to your office or even at home.
Yeah, home.
And you
Yeah.
work remotely. So
Yeah, that's why just keeping your options like open is kind of great. But for me, I believe, like I personally, I always have a game plan. But
Yeah.
I don't say everyone should think that way. But that for me, that's what I do. Like I always have a game plan. Like, hey, this is where I want to go. This is where I see myself. And I think like these are some of the challenges I expect to encounter along the way. Some might add, and it might even be double, triple, or quadruple the challenges. But I want, at the end of the day, I want to get to this level. So I keep pushing myself like to the limit, and to like, hey, I want to get to this point. I want to get to this point. But your option to you, for you leaving your options open. I mean, everybody have different perspective. I'm not gonna say, oh, be like Ben, or if you know like Ben, you're wrong. Nah, I'm not gonna say that. But I want to ask you something interesting. What was the first shock when you got married?
the first shock,
Yeah, marriage shock. Like you were surprised. Like, hey, is it no
I
shock?
didn't have any.
You didn't have any shock?
No. Because I already knew. Because I moved with Emma before getting married, and
Oh, really?
we went through COVID. You know, we met in 2019. We moved in Baltimore together in 2019, and then in 2020,
COVID.
surprise, right? So we are locked in this apartment. Both were working, like me, on the position that I found, and she was working as a nurse. And we were still going to the places and coming back home. So we were spending a lot of time together. That time was like, I don't know, COVID made us stronger. And there was no shock, right? So we were together. I don't know, when you live with someone, you learn basically everything from this person. And living with Emma is really, really easy. Really easy. You know, she's, you know, we both basically have the same habits and everything goes like around. So it was more of like how to spend time with each other better. So we learned how to like give the space that each other needed, but also like stay connected. And I don't know. There was no shock because we already knew who each other was when we got married.
Oh, okay.
It wasn't like, and it wasn't rushed. It wasn't anything like that.
Yeah, that's cool. So, if someone is watching right now or listen to this episode and is saying, "Oh, David, I hear your story. It's kind of inspiring, and I love that." But I'm on Tinder right now, or I'm using Bumble, and I'm swiping left, swiping right, swiping left, swiping right. How do I like How do I find the right person for myself, and what does it take to click? And what criteria do I really need to take into consideration? What's your response going to be?
Try to be as true to yourself as you can. Be original, like be you, be yourself. I don't know, because when you're meeting somebody, and don't generalize, when you're meeting someone, you're meeting an individual, right? And you want to show yourself as an individual as well, right? So I don't know. When I was on Tinder, I was seeing like patterns, right? And it wasn't much about the patterns. I was more about like when someone looked unique, I used the super like bottom. You know, it didn't even have to. It didn't even have to do with how beautiful this lady is, because that's what Tinder. That's the first layer of Tinder. You see, like if you are attracted physically to the lady or to or to the dude if you're a lady on Tinder as well.
Mm-hmm.
Well, like you're physically attractive. Okay, you're like, okay, cool. But then Tinder gives you like a description of yourself,
Mm-hmm.
and it gives you like pictures,
Mm-hmm.
and it gives you the music that you like, the top 5 songs or something, or top 5 artists.
Yeah.
So you can see the personality
Mm-hmm.
of the person a little bit, the type of pictures that they take of themselves. For a man, you can have like a dude like showing their muscles or something like that, or with a I just catch this big fish. Look how great I am. Like like things like that, and that's awesome. That's cool. Some ladies are showing like
Your body.
their bodies, and they're showing how they party, but some others are showing like how they go on a hike, how they like do these things, and everybody's different, and you're always like trying to find somebody that aligns with who you are.
Mm-hmm.
That's why you want to show yourself as you can be.
Mm-hmm.
I don't know. That's like, but it's complicated because it's always like meeting the individual. And for Emma and I, it was more than just Tinder,
Mm-hmm.
So what happened was the story was more than that, because like her sister knew who I was
Oh wow.
before I met Emma,
Mm-hmm.
because I used to go to the climbing gym in Madison.
I remember you told me that.
I told you about that. Yeah, so it was a little bit more of
Yeah.
so like her family owns a climbing gym,
Mm-hmm.
her dad, and then her siblings will go climbing all the time. She wouldn't go. That's why I never met her, because she was on nurse school that whole time, right?
Mm-hmm.
And then when she was going on Tinder that day, her sister saw me and he was, oh, that's David. You should go out with him, you know,
Oh wow.
and that's basically, I got the thumb up from her sister,
Sister.
which was, always help.
Uh-huh. So she made it easy for you,
Yeah.
basically.
Yeah.
Yeah, that's good. Good for you. I remember you took me to a climbing gym one time. I'm like, oh my God, man. And I've not gone back since then. I'm like, anyway, we'll see. Maybe we're gonna go again someday.
Yeah, we can go after here. Once we finish, we can go climbing.
We'll see. We'll see. Okay, I want to ask you, like, if someone just bumped into you on Starbucks and like, hey, David, I listened to your podcast or watch your podcast episode on YouTube or listen on Spotify, Apple Podcasts, or Amazon Music. It was really inspiring, and I really like your take on some certain things when it comes to like life, relationship, and coming from a tough background or coming from a country which that have been through a lot of cycles. And I believe you're mentally strong, and I'm going through some challenges in my life right now, and I want to get your take. And I just want you to give me some friendly suggestion or advice on how to navigate the challenges I'm going through without like getting too personal. Like how would you advise somebody to navigate the challenges based on your own unique perspective?
Focus on yourself.
Mhm.
Focus on yourself. Try to like, because every challenge you try to, I don't know, because this is on finding a partner.
Oh no, like personal challenge. Now it's personal. Like how do I navigate like some personal challenges? Now it's not like in a relationship. Personal
Okay.
challenge, yeah.
Personal challenges.
Yeah.
The main thing is to like accept who you are, and that you can have problems, and things can always get better.
Mhm.
Just as much as they can get worse, they always can get better.
Mhm.
And you have to believe in that.
Mhm.
First thing of it all is to believe in yourself and believe that you can get to whatever you want to go. Is it going to take a long time? Probably. But as long as you don't quit, try to get where you want to go.
Mhm.
As long as you know what is it that you want,
Mhm.
you're going to get there eventually.
Mhm.
So it's two things that have to happen. You have to have a purpose,
Mhm.
and you have to be disciplined about it.
Mhm.
Those are the two things. I don't know, it's about the habits. Everything is about the habits. I've learned in life that whenever you want to get the big prize
Mhm.
quick, almost never works.
Mhm.
Almost never works.
Mhm.
It's always the little grains of sand that you put in it that makes a difference.
Mm-hmm.
Every day you will wake up and you go for a walk,
Mm-hmm.
you're going to have some time for yourself to think about things.
Mm-hmm.
You're going to work out a little bit, and it's going to make things a little better for that day. Little habit that changes it all. That's a little example. But the little habits are what always help.
Yeah.
What are the little things that I can do today that's not going to overwhelm myself, that is going to change that factor that's going to get me there?
Yeah, I got you. That's really good. And I want to just come in on this and just get your perspective on this. Like, you married, and obviously before getting married, you were single, like an individual. So now that you're in a relationship, how do you navigate that by like making sure you're not lost you don't lose your own personal identity? Like, hey, I need to create time for myself. Try to make sure that I'm what loving, like I'm worth it. Like, I'm make myself to a certain level where this person who loves me like really values and care for me, and then with my flaws too. And how do you navigate those flaws, like trying to be better on your own without your partner first?
Yeah, so that's why I told you earlier that I consider myself an introvert,
Mm-hmm.
because I definitely always need time for myself to, regenerate that part of me that's me.
Mm-hmm.
I am very empathic and I absorb everything that's happening. So if I am on a chaotic environment,
Mm-hmm.
I might get a little chaotic just to survive that environment, because there's like, to survive, yet yes, you need to be stronger than the challenge that you're going through, but also you have to blend a little bit with it, so you know what is going on, so you know how to surf the wave, basically.